Did the Texas GOP just declare war on its own establishment? The political world is reeling after a shocking primary result that saw a seasoned, respected senator fall to a candidate mired in scandal, all thanks to a last-minute endorsement from Donald Trump. This isn't just a local race, it's a pivotal moment that's forcing a brutal reckoning within the Republican Party itself. Before we dive into the seismic shifts shaking the GOP, if you want to stay on top of everything happening in U.S. politics, hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like. It really helps this channel grow and ensures you don't miss crucial updates like this one. For years, Senator John Cornyn was a towering figure in Texas and national politics. Known for his sober demeanor, his knack for deal-making, and his quiet influence in shaping the Senate GOP conference across 4 presidencies, Cornyn represented a certain brand of Republican leadership, pragmatic, institutionalist, and focused on delivering results. He was a fundraiser extraordinaire, a key player in Senate leadership, and a vital asset to incumbents seeking support. But in a stunning turn of events, just an hour after polls closed Tuesday, that storied career met a swift and decisive end. Cornyn lost his primary to Ken Paxton, the scandal-plagued Texas Attorney General, a darling of the MAGA movement who received a crucial, last-minute boost from former President Donald Trump. This defeat is sending shockwaves through the establishment wing of the GOP, who viewed this primary as a high-stakes battle for the very soul of the party. Cornyn's supporters are mourning his impending absence, seeing his downfall as another example of an institutionalist falling victim to the ascendant populist right. They lament it as the potential end of an era of compassionate conservatism. As Josh Schroeder, the mayor of Georgetown, Texas and a Cornyn supporter, put it, "It just blows my mind that anybody could look at John Cornyn and somehow call him a secret liberal rhino. If that guy can't pass a conservative litmus test, who can?" Cornyn's loss isn't just a symbolic moment, it's poised to further deplete the already shrinking core of senators willing to work across the aisle on thorny policy issues, from immigration reform to gun safety. This could contribute to even greater polarization on Capitol Hill. While Cornyn wasn't a Manchin-esque bipartisan operator, he did occasionally engage in finding compromise. His defeat follows closely on the heels of Senator Bill Cassidy's primary loss in Louisiana to a Trump-backed challenger, marking a stark shift after 14 years without an elected senator losing their primary. Brian Walsh, Cornyn's former communications director, highlighted Cornyn's commitment. "He's always been about delivering results for Texas rather than chasing headlines. He respects the Senate as his institution and believes deeply in doing the work the right way, even when it's difficult, or I would say politically inconvenient." Even with skepticism about his primary odds, Cornyn went down swinging, running negative ads against Paxton and warning on Fox News that the Attorney General would be an albatross on the Republican ticket, potentially dragging down ballot races. Yet, these moral and pragmatic arguments failed to sway a majority of primary voters or Donald Trump. Trump's endorsement of Paxton, citing Cornyn's delayed endorsement of his presidential run, was a clear signal. Paxton's supporters, meanwhile, have largely shrugged off his extensive legal troubles, impeachment proceedings, and messy personal life, prioritizing his loyalty to the MAGA agenda above all else. Paxton himself focused on his qualifications and allegiance to Trump, while also benefiting from a strong anti-incumbency sentiment and the argument that Cornyn was too ensnared in the D.C. swamp. This narrative bewildered Cornyn's supporters, who pointed to his consistent voting record for Trump's agenda, his role as majority whip during Trump's first term, helping pass the signature tax bill, and his fundraising prowess. A GOP Senate strategist noted anonymously that Senate Republicans were very eager to see their friend and colleague continue, and Cornyn is one of those guys that would have raised money for his fellow incumbents. That's unlikely to continue. Trump's intervention, supporting Paxton as a reward for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election while Cornyn voted to certify the results, proved decisive. In a bid to appeal to the MAGA base, Cornyn himself shifted rightward, even adopting fiery language. He ran an ad declaring radical Islam is a bloodthirsty ideology and, in a move that seemed to directly counter Trump's priorities, he eventually reversed his long-held support for the Senate filibuster. He even introduced a bill to rename a highway in Trump's honor. But it was too little, too late. Cornyn's past decisions to occasionally work with Democrats, such as in bipartisan immigration talks or reaching across the aisle on gun safety legislation like the bipartisan Safer Communities Act after Uvalde legislation that prompted backlash from hard-right voters, ultimately doomed his standing with a significant portion of the Texas GOP base. Paxton, a vocal critic of that gun safety bill, made it a centerpiece of his campaign, accusing Cornyn of supporting the worst gun control bill in decades. Now, Texas is bracing for a costly and competitive Senate race. Democrats are energized by Paxton's nomination, seeing him as more vulnerable than Cornyn, especially in a midterm cycle potentially favorable to their party. State Representative James Tallarico is considered their strongest chance in a generation to flip a statewide seat. Schroeder, who represents a district that overlaps with Tallarico's former seat, believes the Democrat is capable of a strong campaign, noting, "He appears to be campaigning from the high road while the Democratic Party is just slicing Paxton to shreds because they got a whole lot of ammunition." In the aftermath of this brutal primary, some Republicans fear for the state of their party, questioning their ability to unify for the November elections, especially with the possibility of some Cornyn supporters abstaining or even voting for Tallarico. In his concession speech, Cornyn vowed support for the GOP ticket, stating, "I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race, and I've kept the faith." He added, "I'll have more to say later." So what do you think about this dramatic shift in Texas politics and its implications for the Republican Party? Is this the end of an era, or just the beginning of a new one? Drop your opinion in the comments below. I read every single one. The political tremors in Texas are undeniable, and their impact will be felt far beyond the Lone Star State. We'll be watching closely.